Have you ever wondered what truly happens after we die? Do we return somewhere, or do we simply end? And if there is no self, who is it that continues the journey? These are not easy questions, but they are the kind that touch the deepest corners of the heart, questions that have followed humanity for centuries. Here we explore Buddhist wisdom for a modern life, slow, mindful, and full of meaning. If this is your first time here, welcome, my friend. If you've walked with us before, thank you for coming home again. Today we'll explore one of the Buddha's most misunderstood teachings, rebirth without a self. It's an idea that challenges everything we think we know about who we are. Science says nothing is permanent. The Buddha said the same, yet he also spoke of rebirth. So how can there be rebirth if there is no you to be reborn? Many people today feel uncertain about these ideas. They hear of karma, of past lives, of future worlds, and wonder, is this real? Others simply ask, what does this mean for my life now? That's the right question. Because the heart of this teaching isn't about where you'll go after death. It's about how you live while you're alive. It's about seeing that every thought, every action, every breath is shaping your next moment. Every choice is a small rebirth. Maybe you felt this without realizing it. The moment you let go of anger, that was a rebirth. The day you forgave someone, that was another. The second you stopped blaming yourself and chose peace, that too was rebirth. In this video, we'll walk together through that mystery. We'll explore why the Buddha's words still matter today, even in a modern skeptical world. And you'll see how this ancient wisdom can transform the way you experience life right now. So please, stay with us until the end. Because this isn't a lecture, it's an invitation to see yourself and your world in a new way. If you find value in reflections like these, please support Son.Mindfulness by subscribing and sharing. Every click, every comment helps this small community of mindful hearts grow. May you always be healthy. May you walk with peace, with compassion, and with a little more light in your day. Now, let us begin our journey into the paradox of life itself, where there is rebirth but no self. Part 1. The Paradox of Rebirth and No Self. When we first hear that Buddhism teaches both rebirth and no self, something inside us hesitates. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? If there is no me, who is being reborn? If nothing lasts, how can life continue? Let me speak from the heart. For decades, I've watched people wrestle with this question. Monks, scientists, seekers, all trying to fit the Dharma into neat categories of logic. But the Buddha wasn't giving us a riddle to solve. He was inviting us to see in a different way. Imagine you're standing on the shore, watching waves rise and fall. Each wave appears separate, yet it is never apart from the ocean. The water that forms one wave becomes another. It changes shape, never disappears. In the same way, the process we call rebirth is not about a little self-entity jumping from one body to another. It's the movement of conditions, momentum flowing, patterns continuing, energy transforming. You could say it's life unfolding through countless forms, but never belonging to any single one. Many of us were raised to believe that a soul must exist somewhere inside, like a tiny pilot steering the body. But when you look closely, moment to moment, what do you find? A stream of thoughts, sensations, memories, desires, each one arising, each one fading. Which of those is you? Yesterday's anger, tomorrow's hope, the face in a childhood photo that no longer matches the one in the mirror? The Buddha gently pointed out, what we call I is just this changing flow, held together by memory and habit. No permanent self, only selfing, constantly happening. I remember a student who once asked me, so if there's no self, then what's the point of trying to be better? I smiled and said, That's like asking why the candle keeps shining when one flame lights another. The flame on the second candle isn't the same as the first, but without the first, it wouldn't exist. One condition leads to the next. That's how our lives, our choices, our kindness, and our ignorance ripple through time. Nothing jumps across, yet everything is connected. Maybe you've noticed this in daily life. When you speak kindly to someone in pain, your warmth continues in their heart. They, in turn, treat another with care. By evening, your small act has traveled far beyond you, like that second candle now lighting a third. Isn't that also rebirth? Not of a person, but of intention, of energy, of compassion continuing its journey. Science, too, offers echoes of this understanding. Physicists tell us matter is never lost, only transformed. Energy shifts form, but never vanishes. In the same way, Buddhism points to a continuity of causes, not of the soul, but of the consequences of mind and action. Karma, then, isn't some divine bookkeeping. It's the natural law of unfolding, as certain as sunrise following night. And yet, this teaching isn't meant to be distant or abstract. It's about how we live now. Because if you truly see that there is no fixed me, you stop clinging so tightly. When anger comes, you realize, this anger isn't mine, it's a wave passing through. When joy arises, you enjoy it fully, knowing it too will change. You begin to live more lightly, more compassionately, less afraid. So perhaps the paradox isn't a contradiction at all. It's a doorway. Rebirth without a self means life continues, but not as ownership. It means we belong to this vast web of becoming, each of us a moment in the ongoing story of existence. There's freedom in that insight. You can release the heavy need to defend me and simply participate in the dance of causes and conditions. Before we go further, I invite you to pause. Take a breath. Notice how even in this small act, something is born and something dies. The in-breath, the out-breath. This, too, is a rhythm of rebirth. You are not a fixed being watching it happen. You are the happening itself. And maybe, when the body grows old and returns to the earth, the process will go on. Not you moving somewhere, but life continuing its mysterious conversation with itself. So don't rush to believe or disbelieve. Sit with it. Feel the wonder in the question. If nothing truly belongs to us, then perhaps everything is shared. If there is no self to be reborn, then perhaps there has never been a death at all, only change, only the great unfolding of what we call life. Part 2, clarifying the terminology, rebirth versus reincarnation. When people first hear about rebirth in Buddhism, they often assume it's the same as reincarnation. It sounds similar, doesn't it? A person dies, and then that same person or their soul comes back in another body. That idea feels comforting, even logical. We like to think there's something solid, a little spark of me that keeps going, that cannot be lost. But the Buddha's insight is far more subtle and far more liberating. He didn't teach that there's an eternal essence wandering from body to body like a traveler changing homes. He taught that what continues is not a self, but a stream of causes and conditions, a process, not a passenger. In Pali, this is called punabbhava, literally renewed becoming. Let's imagine something simple. Suppose you plant a seed in your garden. Months later, a tree grows. Now, is the tree the same as the seed? Not really. But can the tree exist without the seed? Also no. The seed didn't move into the tree, it simply conditioned it. That's how rebirth works. No little self-seed jumping into a new life. Just causes unfolding into effects. Moment after moment, life after life. Once, a friend who had practiced yoga for many years said to me, "Bhante, I think my soul is ancient. I must have been here before." I smiled and said, "Perhaps, but not as you imagine. In Buddhism, what you call your soul is actually a bundle of habits, your memories, desires, fears, kindnesses, all swirling together like a river. When that current meets new conditions, it continues to flow, taking new shapes. The river doesn't move as a block of water. It keeps changing while remaining continuous. That's rebirth. No traveler, only traveling. Causation without a traveler. It's a phrase that sounds poetic, but it's really very practical. Think of your life even now, your moods, your thoughts. Your decisions today, they shape tomorrow. Who you are tomorrow is not the same as who you are today, but also not entirely different. Your present mind conditions your future mind. You can see rebirth happening every morning you wake up. New thoughts arise, new hopes form. The old ones fade. Moment-to-moment rebirth, before you ever reach the grave. This understanding removes both fear and pride. If there's no eternal I being punished or rewarded, then karma isn't cosmic bookkeeping. It's simply how reality works, causes leading to results. Anger gives birth to suffering. Compassion gives birth to peace. You can observe it right now in this very breath. There's a story I often tell. A student once asked me, "Bhante, if nothing permanent continues, why does my grief feel so heavy when someone dies?" I told her, because love and loss, too, are part of the stream. Your sorrow is the echo of connection, not proof of a self. When the Buddha spoke of rebirth, he wasn't talking about making death smaller. He was showing us how vast life really is. Every act, every thought, every intention, these are the seeds that ripple forward, shaping new beginnings beyond our small imagination. Modern science has its own version of this truth. In physics, energy never disappears, it transforms. In psychology, we see how habits and trauma can ripple across generations, even when the original person is long gone. Children carry the emotional imprints of their parents, just as societies inherit the actions of those before them. Isn't that also a kind of rebirth? Not mystical, but natural. Energy continuing its pattern until understanding dissolves it. So the Buddha wasn't denying continuity. He was redefining it. He was saying, there's no thing that travels, only the results of what has been set in motion. When you light one candle from another, the flame continues, but no flame leaps. The first candle simply conditions the next. It's not about a soul being saved or lost. It's about causes meeting conditions, again and again until wisdom breaks the chain. And here's the beauty. Once you see this, life becomes lighter. You stop clinging to the idea that you must be someone forever. You realize your task is not to preserve a self, but to purify the stream, to let each moment of thought, word, and action carry less greed, less hatred, less delusion. That's how the next moment, the next life, the next world, within or beyond becomes gentler. So ask yourself, what am I passing on, moment to moment? Not my name, not my memories, but the tone of my heart. Am I lighting anger or compassion in the next candle? Because in the end, rebirth isn't about where you go. It's about what continues through you. And when you understand that, you stop fearing death. You start tending the present flame, because that's where all futures begin. Art 3. The 5 aggregates and what we call self. If you've ever looked at an old photograph of yourself and thought, that was me, pause for a moment. Who exactly are you pointing to? The child in that picture no longer exists. The face, The body, the thoughts, the dreams, they've all changed. And yet we say, "That's me." It's such a small phrase, but it hides one of the deepest illusions of human life. The illusion of a fixed, permanent I. The Buddha, in his extraordinary clarity, invited us to look carefully at this thing we call self. He said, "What you think of as you is only a collection of 5 ever-changing parts, the 5 aggregates or khandhas. These are the body or form, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, our thoughts, emotions, and habits, and finally, consciousness itself, the awareness that knows experience. Each of these seems solid for a moment, like waves frozen in time, but the moment you look closely, they are already shifting. Your body is not the same body you had last year. Billions of cells die and are replaced every day. Your feelings? They rise and fall like weather over the ocean. Joy in the morning, worry by noon, peace at sunset. Perceptions, the way you see the world, change with each new experience. Mental formations are perhaps the trickiest. The habits and emotions that make up your personality are always moving, reshaping, adjusting. Even consciousness, which feels like the stable witness behind everything, flickers moment by moment like frames in a film reel. So when you say, "This is me," which of these 5 are you pointing to? The body? That's changing. The mind? Which part? The thought you had a second ago, or the one you'll have tomorrow? Feelings? They vanish before you can hold them. There is no single unchanging thing you can call I. There is only movement, only process, like a song that exists only as long as the notes keep playing. I remember an elderly woman who came to see me years ago. She said, "Bhante, I'm afraid of dying because I don't want to lose myself." I asked her gently, "Which self are you afraid of losing? The one who loved her children, or the one who used to get angry at them?" She laughed, and tears filled her eyes, because she realized both had already changed 1,000 times. She had been many selves already. Death, then, is not the first letting go. It's simply one more in a lifetime of letting goes. Modern psychology confirms this view more and more. Neuroscientists now tell us that there is no single self-center in the brain. No command room where an I sits pulling the levers. Instead, our identity arises from countless neural processes constantly interacting, creating the feeling of a continuous me. It's a useful illusion, just like the flame that seems steady, even though it's made of ever-changing combustion. But this realization is not meant to make us feel empty or meaningless. On the contrary, it opens a door to freedom. Because if there's no fixed self, then there's no self to defend, no ego to protect, no I to be insulted or diminished. You can breathe again. You can respond to life with less fear, more fluidity. You can forgive more easily because both you and the other person are changing all the time. Sometimes I ask my students, "If you're not a thing, what are you?" And then I answer softly, "You're a happening." A verb, not a noun. A dance of body, feeling, perception, mind, and awareness. And when this dance moves in harmony, we call it peace. When it moves with tension and clinging, we call it suffering. The difference is not who you are, but how you are relating to this flow. Try to notice this in your everyday life. When someone criticizes you and you feel that tightness rise in your chest, pause and look closer. What's really happening? A rush of feeling, a thought defending the self, a memory triggered, then it all shifts. Within seconds, that you who felt insulted is already gone. In its place is another you, perhaps reflecting, perhaps softening. You can almost watch yourself being reborn from moment to moment. This is why the Buddha said, "Seeing the aggregates clearly is the beginning of wisdom." not as an idea, but as a lived experience. When you sit quietly and observe your breath, you can see how sensations arise, how thoughts appear, how they fade, and slowly, the illusion of I and this begins to loosen. It's not annihilation, it's awakening. You stop confusing the movie for the screen. So the next time you feel the need to defend who you are, remember this: the self you're protecting is already gone. Another is forming, and another after that. Let them pass. Let them teach you how to flow. To understand the 5 aggregates is to understand the gentle truth that you are not something to be found, but something to be lived, moment by moment, breath by breath. And when you see that, a quiet peace arises. You no longer need to hold on. You can simply be part of the great unfolding of life, changing beautifully, just as you always have. Part 4. How rebirth happens without a self. When we speak of rebirth without a self, people often look puzzled. If no one travels from here to there, they ask, then what exactly is reborn? It's a good question, perhaps the most important one. And yet, the Buddha's answer was not a metaphysical trick. It was simple, clear, and deeply compassionate. He said, conditions give rise to conditions. One moment flows into the next, one life into another, not because someone is traveling, but because the energy of intention, craving, and habit continues its movement. Like ripples on a pond, long after the stone has sunk beneath the surface. Let me return to that famous image the Buddha gave, the lighting of one candle from another. Imagine you hold a burning candle, and from it, you light a second. The flame on the new candle is not the same as the first, yet it could not exist without it. No thing leapt across the space, but the energy, the heat, the condition for light was transmitted. That is rebirth. Not a soul migrating, but the passing on of momentum, the karmic current of life. Karma, in this sense, isn't some cosmic scoreboard tallying points. It's simply cause and effect at the deepest level of mind. Every thought, every action, every desire plants a seed, and like seeds carried by the wind, they sprout wherever the conditions allow. If the soil is rich with kindness, the seed grows into joy. If it's soaked with anger or greed, it grows into suffering. And when death comes, the body dissolves, but those karmic seeds, those tendencies of the heart and mind, continue seeking fertile ground. They shape new beginnings, new consciousness, new forms. Think of craving, tanha, as the force that keeps the wheel turning. It's that subtle pull in us, the thirst to become, to have, to hold on. Even at the moment of death, craving doesn't die with the body. It clings to existence itself. And from that grasping, a new formation arises, a new moment, a new life. This is upadana, clinging, the glue that binds one becoming to the next. It's not that you continue, but that the pattern continues, the momentum of ignorance and desire, until wisdom finally interrupts the cycle. Once a man asked me after a talk, "Bhante, is it fair that I suffer for what someone else, some past life I can't remember, might have done?" And I told him, it's not someone else. It's the continuation of tendencies, the echo of unfinished lessons. The stream that flows now is shaped by every bend it has taken before. He was quiet for a while, then said softly, "So the goal isn't to escape life, but to understand it." And I smiled. Exactly. To see the pattern clearly enough that the craving ends. Then the stream rests. This is what the Buddha called paticca samuppada, dependent origination, the law of interdependence. Nothing exists by itself. Everything arises because something else has made it possible. Your thoughts arise from past impressions, your emotions from conditions of body and memory, your choices from the stories you carry. And each of these in turn becomes a condition for something else. There is no single, independent self in control, only a web of causes and effects, the great flowing tapestry. In the forest monasteries of Thailand, we often sit at night under the stars, and the teachers remind us, when you see the fireflies, know that you are watching the Dharma in motion. Each light appears, glows, fades, none stays the same, yet the dance continues. Life is like that. It looks personal, but it's impersonal law, endlessly moving until wisdom dawns. Even in the smallest things, you can see this truth. Have you ever noticed how your mood in the morning sets the tone for the whole day? If you wake up anxious, everything seems heavier. If you wake up grateful, the same world feels softer. This is karma unfolding moment by moment. Each thought lighting the next, each emotion shaping the one that follows. We are not prisoners of fate. We are participants in causation. When we act with mindfulness, we interrupt the old currents and begin to create new ones. Some people hear all this and feel discouraged. So, Bhante, are we just puppets of cause and effect? No, my friend. We are not puppets. We are part of the play itself. We are the unfolding story that can change its own direction once awareness enters the scene. Ignorance binds, understanding frees. The chain of causes becomes the chain of compassion when you see it clearly. This is why the Buddha said enlightenment is not the destruction of life, but the ending of ignorant becoming. When craving no longer fuels the next moment, the flame naturally goes out, not in despair, but in peace. That extinguishing is called nibbana. The end of the fire is not a tragedy, it's the natural completion of its burning. So how does rebirth happen without a self? It happens just as today flows into tomorrow, just as the rain becomes the river, and the river becomes the sea. No boundary can truly be found. The mystery is not who continues, but what keeps continuing and why. And when you see that the why is craving, you begin to let go. You begin to live more gently, to choose more wisely, to plant better seeds in the soil of this moment. Because one day, these very seeds may blossom into your next morning, whether in this life or another. Rebirth without a self isn't a theory about death. It's an insight into now. How each thought leads to the next. How each action creates a world. How freedom begins when you stop clinging to the illusion that anything truly belongs to you. And perhaps in that letting go, you will feel the quiet joy the Buddha felt beneath the Bodhi tree. The joy of knowing that the flame burns only as long as the fuel of ignorance remains. When that fuel runs out, what's left is peace, unbound, infinite, beyond birth and death. Part 5. Why this teaching matters and its practical implications. My dear friends, sometimes people tell me, Bhante, all this talk about rebirth is beautiful, but I don't know if I can believe it. I can't see my past lives, then I don't know what happens after death. And I always smile and say, it's all right. You don't need to believe in tomorrow to live kindly today. Because this teaching, you see, is not really about the next life. It's about this very moment. The Buddha didn't ask us to become believers. He asked us to become observers. He wanted us to see how cause and effect unfold right here in the life we're already living. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thought that arises? Is it worry, gratitude, resentment, hope? That very thought is already shaping your day. It's the seed from which the next hours will bloom. That's karma. Not in the mystical sense, but as simple psychology. Your mind creates the tone of your world. And the truth is, each moment is a kind of rebirth. You don't need to die to experience it. You're dying and being reborn countless times each day, whenever a thought ends and another begins. whenever you drop an old reaction and see something new. Have you ever caught yourself mid-anger, ready to shout, and then suddenly paused, breathed, and let it go? That moment of awareness is rebirth. The old self, the one that would have spoken harshly, dies. A new self, wiser and softer, is born. That's the real miracle. The Buddha's teaching is an invitation to live as if every thought matters, because it does. When you speak with kindness, you create the conditions for peace to grow. When you feed anger or resentment, you create a small hell in your own mind. The realms of rebirth that ancient texts describe, heaven, hungry ghost, hell, they are not just after-death destinations, they are states we visit every day. When greed burns, you live like a hungry ghost. When compassion fills you, you live like a god. And when ignorance rules, you wander lost in confusion. We travel through these realms many times before lunch. Once a man came to me frustrated. He said, "Bhante, I try to meditate, but my mind keeps going back to mistakes I made years ago. How can I stop being haunted by my past lives?" I laughed softly and told him, "You don't need to worry about the lives before this one. Just notice the hundreds of lives you live between sunrise and sunset." He looked confused, so I explained, "This morning you were the man who worried. At noon, you became the man who hurried. By evening, you turned into the man who regretted. Which one is the real you? Each is a birth, a moment of becoming, and you can choose, each time, what kind of being you want to be reborn as." That is the essence of this teaching. Not theology, not dogma, just a reminder of responsibility and possibility. We are not victims of fate. We are gardeners of the present. The soil is here, the seeds are our thoughts, and the harvest will come soon enough. If you plant bitterness, you will taste bitterness. If you plant generosity, you will find joy. And every day offers new soil, fresh ground, a new chance. Science too affirms this truth in its own language. Neuroscientists tell us that the brain rewires itself with every repeated thought, every chosen emotion. Mindfulness literally changes its structure. You can sculpt your mind as surely as water shapes stone. So even if you don't believe in rebirth after death, you can see it in your own neurons, your habits, your choices. You become what you practice, moment after moment. That's not faith, that's observation. So, whether you think of rebirth as lifetimes across centuries or simply as the next breath after this one, the meaning is the same. You have the power to begin again. Every time you notice your anger before it spills out, that's rebirth. Every time you choose understanding over judgment, that's rebirth. Every time you forgive, you step out of the old world and into a new one. The Buddha once said, "Each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most." Can you feel the mercy in that? No matter what mistakes lie behind you, you can begin again in this breath. The past does not imprison you unless you keep lighting it with the fire of memory. You can set it down, right here, and choose differently. So live as if every thought is planting the next world you'll inhabit. Live as if your actions echo beyond your knowing. Live as if every breath is a new chance to bring wisdom into the stream of life. Not because someone demands it, not because heaven or hell await, but because this moment is sacred, alive, and full of possibility. And when you live that way, the teaching of rebirth becomes something immediate, intimate, and luminous. You begin to see, heaven and hell are not places to fear or desire. They are choices of the heart, and liberation, the end of rebirth, is not far away, hidden beyond the stars. It's right here, in the quiet freedom of one mindful breath. When you realize that you have already been reborn, and in this moment you are free to begin again. Part 6. What if I'm unsure about rebirth? Many people who come to me say something like this: Bhante, I love the peace I find in Buddhist practice, but I'm not sure about rebirth. Do I have to believe in it to walk this path? And every time I tell them gently, no, my friend. The Dharma isn't asking for belief, it's asking for awareness. The Buddha himself never demanded blind faith. He understood how easily our minds can cling even to beliefs as another form of comfort. Instead, he offered an invitation to see for yourself. That invitation lives beautifully in a teaching called the Kalama Sutta. In the Kalama Sutta, a group of villagers came to the Buddha feeling confused. Many teachers had passed through their town, each claiming to hold the truth. The Kalamas didn't know who to trust, so they asked the Buddha, "Whose word should we believe?" And the Buddha replied with such wisdom, it still echoes through centuries. Do not believe something just because it's tradition, or written in scripture, or spoken by a teacher. When you know for yourself that something leads to peace, to kindness, to clarity, then follow it. And if it leads to harm, to greed, to delusion, let it go. It's not belief that makes one a Buddhist. It's the willingness to test the teachings in your own experience. Rebirth, karma, compassion, all these are lenses through which we can understand life more deeply. But the Buddha never asked you to swallow them whole. He asked you to taste and see. I often tell my students, if you're unsure about rebirth, that's perfectly fine. Doubt, when it's honest and humble, is not an obstacle, it's a doorway. What matters is not whether you declare, I believe, or I don't believe. What matters is whether you are awake to the law of cause and effect in your own mind, right now. You see, the Buddha described 3 ways people can relate to such teachings. The first is faith or confidence, those who out of trust in the Buddha and their teachers, accept the teaching and let that faith motivate their practice. That's fine, as long as the faith remains soft and open, not rigid or dogmatic. The second is agnosticism, people who say, I don't know, I can't confirm this myself, but I'll live as if my actions matter. That too is noble, because it keeps the heart honest and the mind alert. The third is denial, those who are certain there is no continuation at all, who believe that when the body dies, consciousness ends completely. The Buddha warned against this view, not because it's wrong in a moral sense, but because it can lead to indifference, the feeling that our choices have no meaning, that our actions end at the edge of the grave. But the truth is, even if rebirth were not real, the law of consequences still is. If you act with anger, you suffer. If you act with kindness, you feel peace. You don't need to wait until the next life to see that. It's happening now, in the smallest decisions of your day. And that's enough reason to live mindfully. I once met a man who said to me, Bhante, I don't believe in anything I can't see. So I'd asked him, do you believe in love? He paused and smiled. He said, well, I can't see it, but I can feel it. I nodded and replied, that's how the Dharma works too. You feel its truth when you live it. Rebirth for some may remain a mystery, but compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom are verifiable in every breath. You don't need to believe in a next life to see that these qualities heal suffering here and now. And if living this way also brings peace beyond this life, then that's a beautiful bonus. The Buddha spoke of something called the 4 solaces. He said, if there is an afterlife and karma is real, then I will fare well by living virtuously. If there is no afterlife, still I have lived a good and peaceful life. Either way, we win when we live with kindness. That is the Buddha's pragmatic wisdom, not belief, but practice. So if you're unsure about rebirth, that's all right. You don't have to force certainty, you don't have to pretend. Just live as if every thought, every action, every word sends ripples into the world. Because it does. Even if you never see where those ripples end, you'll know in your heart that you've made the water gentler for all who follow. And that, perhaps, is the real meaning of rebirth. Not the promise of another body somewhere in the future, but the quiet assurance that goodness never dies. That compassion, once born in the heart, continues its journey through countless lives, within you, around you, and after you. So don't worry about believing. Just keep walking with mindfulness, keep watering the seeds of understanding, and let life itself reveal what's true. Because in the end, Buddhism isn't about holding on to any view. It's about the freedom that comes when even belief bows to awareness. Conclusion. Living the teaching, moment by moment. My dear friends, we have traveled a long way together. We walked through questions of self and rebirth. We looked at the body, feelings, and the restless mind. We saw that nothing stands still. Everything changes, flows, becomes. What remains when everything changes? Awareness, compassion. The gentle understanding that life is not owned, only shared. The Buddha taught that rebirth isn't just about another life after this one. It's about how you live this moment. Each breath is a beginning. Each thought is a seed. Each choice can turn suffering into freedom. Have you noticed how a kind word can change your whole day? How a moment of patience can heal a wound that anger would deepen? That is rebirth too. You are being reborn every time you choose love over fear. Maybe you don't know whether there's life after death. That's all right. What matters is how alive you are right now, how present you are with your breath, how gentle you are with your heart. The real teaching of rebirth is not about time, it's about transformation. When you forgive, the past loses its power. When you listen deeply, understanding grows. When you act with wisdom, you begin to see the chain of cause and effect soften. Isn't that the kind of rebirth we all long for? Take a moment to reflect. What are you being reborn into right now? A mind filled with peace or with worry? A heart open with gratitude or closed with fear? You hold that choice every moment of your life. I want to thank you, truly, for walking through these reflections with me. Your time, your attention, your quiet curiosity, these are precious gifts. I hope something in these words has touched your heart. If it has, even gently, then that's already a seed of awakening. You are part of this great river of becoming. Every insight you carry forward will ripple out to others. You may never see where your kindness lands, but it will travel far. So keep living with awareness. Keep lighting candles wherever you go. If today's talk has opened something inside you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What part of this teaching spoke to you most? What moment in your life felt like a small rebirth? Please share your reflections below. Your words might comfort someone else. And if you wish to walk further on this path of mindfulness and gentle wisdom, please subscribe to Son.Mindfulness. Like, share, or simply sit in silence with what you've heard. Each gesture is a way of keeping the flame alive. Thank you for being here. May you stay healthy. May your days be peaceful and kind. May every breath remind you that you can begin again. And may the light of understanding guide you through every rebirth, seen and unseen. With gratitude and peace, Son.Mindfulness.